Good afternoon, everybody. It is Wednesday, August 20th, 2025. Welcome to the first edition of Douglas Now Live. We have a news report that we're going to do here and go over our top stories here in Douglas and Coffee County and in the surrounding areas as well. Before we launch into that, I want to say that this is something that we've been talking about for quite some time. And a few folks and myself have been trying to pull together this project for a lot longer than it should have taken to see it come to pass. This is something that we plan to do regularly. We are still a little bit in the planning stages. And you can see our background. We have a very nice studio set up here. And we've been working now for quite some time to get this going. So I want to preface our show today with giving you a little bit of background that this is something that we plan to do, something you will be seeing more of. This is the first time that we are doing it. This is not necessarily the time that we will be doing this show. Once we start at our regular time, you will be able to count on it then. Again, this is, I hate to say it's a bit of a dry run, but this is kind of a test run, one of those things that we are doing live on the air, and we shall see how it goes. So again, I want to thank everyone for logging in today and streaming with us. We're working on some of the technology here a little bit. So what you see today will not be exactly how it is once we get it going, but we're in the process of fine-tuning everything. We start our report today with a story that WALB broke yesterday. On Monday, a judge in Atkinson County found all three teen defendants charged in connection with the death of 16-year-old Darian Davis of Pearson. The three teens were sentenced to 5 years in prison for aggravated assault. On October 12, 2024, Davis was assaulted. The attack was videoed and widely circulated. During the fight, the video shows Davis being hit several times with a pipe. On October 17, 2024, 5 days later, Davis went to Coffee Regional Medical Center suffering from an asthma attack. He was transferred to Savannah, where he passed away on October 22, 2024. 5 individuals have been arrested and initially were charged with murder, among other charges, in connection with Davis's death. In April, prosecutors lowered the charges to aggravated assault after a medical examiner determined that the fight that was videoed was not the cause of Davis's death. 2 adults in the case are still awaiting trial. Pictured here, this photo is courtesy of WALB. Pictured here are 2 of the defendants, Nehemiah Jones, 21, and Ventron White, 17. Again, those who were convicted were sentenced to 5 years in prison, which is the maximum sentence allowed under those charges. A Douglas man was arrested and jailed after he allegedly crashed into his girlfriend's car and then later fired several shots from a handgun at her. The 2 had been arguing earlier, according to a Douglas Police Department report. The incident happened on August the 10th, 2025, around 12:30 p.m. At that time, a Douglas police officer responded to a call at Jamestown Drive in reference to shots fired. While on the way to the location, the report says that the officer received a shot spotter alert indicating that 3 to 4 shots had been fired near the intersection of Glendale Avenue and Jamestown Drive. The suspect, identified as Alexander Moore, 34, allegedly fired a handgun at the victim several times as he was leaving the scene. Officers found Moore at his home and spoke with him. He denied ramming the victim's vehicle, and he also denied firing any shots. He was arrested and charged with aggravated assault and transported to the Coffee County Jail. No injuries were reported in the incident. South Georgia State College has made a $64.6 million impact on the regional economy and was responsible for more than 645 jobs locally during fiscal year 2024. South Georgia State College is a key contributor in terms of economic growth and tax revenue, and is also a catalyst for opportunity, improving many, many lives through education. SGSC's academic portfolio includes Bachelor of Science degrees in Biological Sciences, Elementary and Special Education, Management, Mechanical Engineering Technology, and Nursing. In addition, there are over 20 pathways in Associate of Arts and Associate of Science programs that continue to attract those who wish to attend SGSC and graduate in 2 years. We have a number of institutions and organizations that are vitally important to Douglas and Coffee County. While sometimes South Georgia State College may fly under the radar a little bit, and it still is beyond me a little bit, that does in fact happen. It is one of the most significant economic impacts that we have, or economic engines that we have in our community, and it makes a tremendous impact both culturally and economically in our community. $64.6 million is a significant amount of money. And again, we cannot overstate the importance of South Georgia State College to our local community and our local economy. Our next story is one that I knew was coming. I have heard it discussed, and I knew that once it did hit, it was not going to be a very popular story at all. It has generated a significant discussion on the DouglasNow.com Facebook page. One thing I do want to remind you is we are going over highlights of our stories, just going through the headlines and a little bit of information. There is more information on all of these stories on DouglasNow.com, and you can also join in the discussions of these stories on the DouglasNow.com Facebook page. Yesterday afternoon, the city of Douglas released a press release, or issued a press release, that in short said it's time for property owners in the city to begin to repair your property that was damaged by Hurricane Helene. The press release says it is imperative that movement begins on properties that remain severely damaged, abandoned, or untouched since the storm. These sites not only present safety hazards, but also contribute to the ongoing blight that affects the overall well-being, property values, and future development of the Douglas community. At this stage in recovery, it is critical that property owners begin making measurable progress toward the rebuilding phase, even if work cannot yet be fully completed. The city understands that many property owners and residents are facing challenging circumstances. To help curtail any misinformation and to help the city work with property owners, the city is asking that property owners submit a general plan and an expected timeline for cleanup, repair, or demolition for the property no later than November 15th, 2025. If you go to the DouglasNow.com Facebook page, you can find this story on there. You'll have to scroll down a little bit, but it's still there and it's still figured prominently. There is a graphic that the city sent out after we posted the story that has a code on it. You can scan that code, and it will take you to a site where you can submit some information, particularly if you have a hardship. And listen, everyone knows that we have all suffered hardship because of Hurricane Helene. And I would imagine the city putting this press release out, they've delayed it as long as possible. And they are, whether people believe this or not, the city is sensitive to the plight of its citizens with regard to Hurricane Helene. At the same time, property has been damaged, property has been destroyed, or homes have been destroyed. And at some point, we're going to have to do some work to fix that. So again, the city understands there are hardships. If you have a hardship, contact the city, and they will help you work through whatever hardships you may have. From Hurricane Helene to chickens, the commercial poultry operation slated for the southern end of Coffee County is back in the news. The injunction halting development on the proposed 60-house commercial poultry farm scheduled for southern Coffee County has been extended until September 29th, 2025. The next hearing scheduled for that day will take place at the Coffee County Courthouse. This most recent hearing was held on August the 12th. The day before that hearing, attorneys for the defendants filed a motion for dismissal, citing lack of venue and failure to state a claim against some or all of the defendants. The lack of venue is related to conducting the hearing at the Law Enforcement Center instead of the Coffee County Courthouse. When this hearing was scheduled, there was no room in the courthouse. Neither one of the courtrooms were available, so they moved the hearing to the courtroom at the Law Enforcement Center, which is quite small and cramped. And that was the reason, one of the reasons why the defendants, why the attorneys for the defendants filed a motion for a change of venue. So when you think about change of venue, a lot of times you're thinking about moving out of the county. That's not what it is in this case. It is simply moving it from the Law Enforcement Center to a more suitable facility, which, of course, is a courtroom at the Coffee County Courthouse. The defendants also cite incorrect information in the original suit, as well as a significant burden of proof, which they maintain the plaintiffs have not met. Judge Kelly Brooks has not ruled on the motion, and at the moment, the next hearing is still scheduled for September the 29th. The temporary restraining order halting all construction on the poultry farm has been extended until April the 29th. A Coffee County woman remains missing and unaccounted for in South Carolina. Tina Snipes, a Nichols native, disappeared from Edisto Island, South Carolina on August 15th, 2018. Investigators have very little information upon which to go as they search for her, and the search continues 7 years later. Miss Snipes is 43 years old, 5 foot 3 inches tall, 113 pounds. Her last contact was on August 15th, 2010 at Horizon Easy Shop, a convenience store there at 2410 Highway 174 in Edisto Island, South Carolina. She is listed as officially missing from 7961 Maxey Road. She was last seen wearing a necklace, sunglasses, a tank top, and yoga pants. She also was wearing flip-flops, and she had her hair in a bun. Miss Snipes still has family in Douglas and Coffee County who would very much like to have answers and closure regarding her case. Several years ago, investigators did state publicly that they believe that Miss Snipes is no longer alive, but they are still searching for answers and searching to find out exactly what happened to her. If anyone has any information regarding Miss Snipes' disappearance, you can contact the Charleston County Sheriff's Office at 843-743-7200. After 27 years in practice, Dr. Karuna Reddy is announcing her retirement, marking the end of a deeply meaningful career in psychiatry. Throughout this time, Dr. Reddy has had the privilege of serving hundreds of patients and offering support, guidance, and compassionate care to individuals and families within the Douglas Coffee County community. We would like to thank Dr. Reddy for her service, and once again, an extension, any healthcare services that we have in our community are another one of those significant economic engines that we have here. And while psychiatry may not be something that comes to mind when you think about clinical services, anything that is an extension of Coffee Regional Medical Center or the healthcare community in general in Douglas Coffee County is significant. And I believe, and this is, no system is perfect, but I believe that the health care that you get and the services that you can receive here in Douglas and Coffee County are on par with that anywhere else. Yes, there's always room for improvement. There's always room for more services. But if you look back over the last 20, 30, 40 years, which I am old enough to remember 40 years ago, the services that we have here are significantly better and significantly more comprehensive than what we used to have. Again, thank you, Dr. Reddy, for your service to the Douglas and Coffee County community. We appreciate what you have done here for us, and we hope that you enjoy your retirement. A 24-year-old who had recently gotten high before this incident happened, according to a report from the Douglas Police Department, was arrested and charged with false report of a crime after he allegedly called 911 and reported that a man with dreads and a gun was outside of his house. The report states that on August 9th, 2025, at around 9:30 p.m., An officer responded to a Taylor Circle address in reference to an individual with a gun. When the officer arrived, he spoke with Tyreek Vine, age 24, of Douglas. According to the report, Vine said he was tripping because his girlfriend had left him. He then said that he thought she was outside of his house with a gun. The officer, however, reminded Mr. Vine that his 911 call referenced a male with dreads and a gun, according to the report. It goes on to say that Vines admitted that he called 911 and lied about someone being outside with a gun, and he knew it was wrong. A relative in the house had also told police that Vine had gotten high not too long before. He was arrested and transported to the Coffee County Jail and later released. If you have been following Douglas Now lately, you may notice that we have been extremely sports heavy lately. The fall sports season at CCA, at Coffee High School, and at South Georgia State College is in full swing, and we have a steady flow of sports stories, and we will continue to have that all the way through the fall and into the early winter. Coffee High School football is, of course, underway. Friday night, the Trojans won 28-14 over Bainbridge High School. The last several years, Bainbridge has been, if not the first team we've played, at least the second. For the last couple of years, we have opened our season with Bainbridge, and thankfully this year, the Bearcats had to travel here to Coffee County instead of us having to make the trip down there. Running back KJ DeBruce scored all 4 touchdowns for the Trojans. This weekend, a big rivalry game against Ware County. We are not in the same classification anymore, but that doesn't matter. The Ware County Gators are very well coached. They have an extremely talented team, and they are clicking on all cylinders even this early in the season. We will travel to Waycross to play Ware County at 7:30 p.m. on Friday night in Memorial Stadium. And once again, regardless of classification, regardless of what is going on, that will be a big game and one that you will want to pay attention to. Of course, we will have a report on that game soon after it is over with. The CCA Patriots are also playing football this year, having they're in a region this year. Again, the Patriots were not supposed to play a region schedule this season, but some things happened over the summer, and they were forced to play to join a region and play. They were going to play outside of a region this year and then join a region next year. But the Patriots defeated Grace Christian Academy Friday night, 44-6. In an interesting twist, I don't think this has ever happened before, but Grace Christian Academy is in Bainbridge. So the Bainbridge Bearcats, Bainbridge High School, traveled to Coffee County to play, and then CCA team and fans traveled to Bainbridge to play the Cougars down there. So the fan bases for both schools passed each other early in the afternoon, and then later in the evening. The Patriots played a complete game from the opening snap on a wet and nasty night down in Bainbridge. In fact, the game started late because of weather delays, but it was a dominant performance on both sides of the ball. This weekend, the Patriots opened their season at home in Douglas at 7:30 p.m. They're playing Georgia Christian from down in Valdosta, and this is the first game that the Patriots will play on their new bleachers. If you go out past CCA, you have 158, you may have noticed that there's a new set of bleachers that are being built. I was watching it last week, and I'm thinking, I'm glad we're playing away. I don't think the Patriots are going to be ready. The bleachers are going to be ready. So they put the finishing touches on them. Have a new scoreboard, so it should be a fun night of football here in Douglas and Coffee County. So if you want to stay home and watch a game, you can watch the Patriots. If you want to go to Waycross, you can watch a big rivalry game between the Trojans and the Ware County Gators. And if you would like to listen to CCA, you can tune in to 106.3 The Tree here in the Coffee County Broadcasters family of stations and listen to the play-by-play from that game. The CCA Lady Patriots picked up a big non-region win against the always tough Pinewood Christian Academy Lady Patriots, 9-5 yesterday in Belleville. CCA found themselves trailing 3-1 after 2 innings, but launched a comeback that included an enormous 2-run home run by Maddie Lewis in the 5th inning and an impressive performance from the bottom half of the lineup. Pinewood may have had the antidote for the top of CCA's order, but they couldn't do anything with the 6 through 9 spots. They were a combined 8 for 14 with 2 runs and 5 RBIs. Gracie Giddens led the way with 3 hits, 2 RBI, and 1 run scored. Cadence Cravey drove in 3 and scored 1. Now, this is not to say that the top of the order was entirely quiet. Lewis and Abra Harris each scored twice as well. CCA's second pitcher of the day, Peyton Harper, earned the win with 3 2/3 inning of work. She gave up 2 runs on 2 hits. Giddens started and went 3 1/3 inning. CCA hosts Fullington tomorrow at 4 p.m. at Patriot Field in Douglas. They have the weekend off before traveling to Vidalia to face Vidalia Heritage on Monday. The Coffee Lady Trojans were also in action yesterday. They were on the road, traveled up I-75 to Kathleen, Georgia, to face the Veterans Warhawks. Maggie Brown turned in another strong performance in the pitcher's circle, but it wasn't enough to hold off the Warhawks. This was the first region game. Coffee is now 0-1 in the region after falling to the Warhawks 4-3. Brown struck out 10 and gave up only 1 walk, so she had a really good outing and a quality start. The Lady Trojans didn't get on the scoreboard until the 5th inning when Allie Pridgeon scored on a veteran's error. Coffee added 2 more in the 7th, one on a single by Jocelyn Fender that scored Channa Smith, and another when Ella Winters singled in Fender. Veterans scored 1 in the 1st, 2 in the 4th, 1 in the 5th, eventually winning 4-3. Winters led the way offensively. She went 2 for 4 with an RBI. All of Coffee's hits were singles. The Lady Trojans are 4-2 overall and 0-1 in region play. The region schedule continues Thursday with a doubleheader against Veterans here at Faircloth Field. First pitch is scheduled for 5 p.m. Ella Winters is in the picture here again. She was the only Lady Trojan yesterday with multiple hits. Those are your top stories today from DouglasNow.com. We appreciate everyone tuning in this afternoon. Thank you for working with us as we test our new technology, enjoy our new studio, and fine-tune what you see here so that we'll get a lot of the kinks ironed out and again, continue to improve on what we do. This is a new project that we're working on. We're excited about it. We appreciate you being a part of our stream today. We will be back next week with another edition of Douglas Now Live. Stay tuned. We will make that announcement. You can tune in, and then it won't be long before we are in a regular rotation. Thank you again for being here with us. We appreciate it. Y'all have a wonderful afternoon.